All right, we're good. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Manlius Planning Board meeting for July 22nd, 2024. We're hybrid in person and on Zoom. Just so everybody knows, the minutes from July 8th, 2024, we are tabling to our next meeting. So we will not be approving those this evening. The first item on our agenda is John and Kaylee Graves for the approval of their current special use permit for the Wanoa Golf Course at 6940 Chef's Corners Road, 13057, tax map number 041.01-08.1. So for this renewal, we had originally thought we would combine the two, but then we were, because of the nature of the two properties, and it doesn't seem like they're gonna really be the same operation and separate, but we thought we'll still get them on the same timeline, but have two separate special permits. Okay. So that timeline would be a 7-year special use permit for that tax map, which I just mentioned. And as far as the codes officer for the town, there have been no complaints with respect to this project during the time it is operated under its already current special use permit. And the applicant has made replacements in kind or maintenance improvements to the parking lot which do not affect the site plan or the special use permit. So I would entertain a motion to approve the special use permit for 7 years. Motion made by John, seconded by Rich. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So the special use permit for that tax map number 041.01-08.1 is approved for a period of 7 years. And actually, yeah, 08.1.
That's the
That's
second
the other
tax map.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we got the right number. Okay. The second item on our agenda is for also the same people, John and Kaylee Graves, for site plan and special use permit for the Tracer Tech indoor driving range at 6940 Chef's Corners Road. This is tax map number 041.01-07.0. So would you like to provide us with any updates or anything, or?
So I think the only updates we really have to talk about, there was an email that came out last week with respect to the sign, and we talked about that on Friday.
Yes.
So we'll deal with that when John gets back to town and has a conversation to talk with his sign
Yes.
people.
We will not be including the sign at this time, and it'll be up to him if he wants to bring it into
Right.
conformance or then come back to the planning board either way.
Yeah.
Okay. Doug, did you have any comments on the?
I did, and I spoke to Ed last week, and he's working on 6 items. And he said he would follow up and get back to me on those, but they're relatively minor.
Okay.
So I'm fine with what he has as long as he follows up accordingly.
Okay, all right. We do have to go through the special use permit criterion. Is there any comments or questions from the board before we go through that?
Just curious if you change those trees out.
We're doing that at the same time that we're making Doug had some comments on the SWIP. And there's one modification on the lighting plan that we have to take care of. So I'm just gonna do it all in one shot.
That's good, thank you.
Yeah.
The only comment I have, and this may have been addressed by Doug, what's the Army? It mentions that the Army Corps should be asked about wetlands, endangered species. Is Is that something, Doug, that you addressed with the applicant?
We discussed it, and I think he's addressed it before. Or everything should be all set.
Okay, all right.
Okay, anything else from the board? Joe, you mind leading us through the special use permit right here?
Sure. So there's multiple questions you have to consider as part of the special permit criteria. The overarching question is, will the project have an adverse effect on adjacent lands, the immediate neighborhood, or on the character of the community? And then there's sub-questions. First sub-question is, in this plan, is the community protected from traffic congestion, conflicts, flooding, excessive soil erosion, unnecessary noise, lighting and odors, wasteful energy use, and other forms of pollution? Based upon the testimony given, I'm going to provide an answer. If everyone feels that way, then I think we make a motion to adopt the findings as so read. So the recreational use of a golf course has existed on the site for some time. So the board is able to observe the actual impact of such use. The expansion of this use to the indoor tracer tech facility is a similar use. The board has carefully reviewed the proposed plan, has determined that no traffic congestion or excess noise, lighting, or odor will be emanated from this use. Very little external lighting will be present at the site. There was concern raised at the public hearing as to possible flooding concerns in this area. This board is assured that the planning board engineer, working with the qualified professional engineer of the applicant, has reviewed all stormwater issues associated with the site, and that this use and construction on the site will not cause flooding concerns and will comport with all SWIP requirements. Particulars of the engineering review must be complied with as part of the site plan review approval. Does anyone at this time want to make a motion adopting that finding as to this question?
Sorry. Motion made by Aaron, second by David. All in favor? Any opposed? Carries.
All right, second sub question under the special permit criteria. Does this plan protect the community from inappropriate design and other matters of scenic and aesthetic significance? This board has reviewed the architectural design presented and other aesthetic features of this proposed site. Even after improvements, the site continues to have significant open space and wooded area, including part of the golf course. The improvements are well designed, compatible with the site, surrounding area, do not negatively affect scenic or aesthetic matters in this area. Does anyone want to make a motion at this time adopting that finding for that question?
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Rich, seconded by Arnie. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
And then the third sub question, does the plan ensure that the proposed use will be in harmony with the appropriate orderly development of the district, which is proposed? The use is permitted within this RA zoning district with a special permit, and is further an extension of the long-standing recreational use of the site, presents an orderly development of the site. Does anyone want to make a motion making that finding for this question at this time?
Okay, motion made by David, seconded by Judy. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so considering, on this determination, considering the within findings, this board finds that the project as proposed will not have an adverse effect on adjacent lands, the immediate neighborhood, or the character of the community, and the special permit for the premises to be used as an indoor golf facility and restaurant is therefore granted with the following conditions. The special permit shall be granted to the owner, 6940 Shepherd's Road LLC, for the use proposed and shall be valid for a term of 7 years. Number 2, no modifications to the site not specifically approved as part of the site plan approval can be made on the site. And number 3, the conditions of the Onondaga County Planning Board referrals of March 27th, 2024 are conditions of this approval. So I entertain a motion for approval,
So,
especially, okay. Motion made by Rich, second by Don. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries for the special use permit for the Tracer Tech indoor driving range. Okay, and now we need to discuss the site plan. Does the board have any comments or questions on the site plan?
Doug, just a question you mentioned earlier on the 6 engineering items. Are those the items listed under 2A through F?
Yeah, yeah. That's insured.
Yes, we did see her on July 8th, yes, and we had negative. Yeah. So each and every finding on the seeker as determined on July 8th, 2024, and the special permit heretofore set forth in this resolution are incorporated by reference. The site plan last dated June 27th, 2024 is hereby approved, if we can take a motion for that, with the following conditions. The signage for the site is not approved. The sign package presented was not in conformity with the sign ordinance of the town, and the applicant has stated that they will withdraw that sign and present a conforming monument sign. And a requested sign must come back to the planning board for final approval. Final engineering review and approval with respect to the following matters as Doug and Ed were in discussion, to confirm the Onondaga Lake watershed, confirm the depth to groundwater, the existing roadside ditch does it need to be included in a catchment area, provide a cut sheet on the contact cascade separator, confirm receiving swale on adjacent property, and modify lighting photometric to 0-foot candles at property line along Shep's Quarters Road. So if the board is in agreement with that, I take a motion for site plan approval based on those conditions. Motion made by Rich, second by Arnie, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries for site plan approval. So for the June 27th, site plan and based on those conditions. Do you guys have any questions for us?
I think we're good.
And we'll see you back for the sign.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sounds good.
all right,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Okay. The next item on our agenda is the A&E and S&Y Center. And this is on for a possible decision for the site plan for the med spa. It is tax map number 086.01-03.9. It's my understanding that we did get the fire department and codes approvals. We've received letters from them approving the plans.
Okay.
And the access and everything. Doug, do you have any further comments on that?
On, the fire department?
Yeah,
No, but I have been in discussion with Joe, similar to the last, application we saw. There are 4 or 5 items that Joe needs to follow up on too.
okay. So you're aware of those?
Yes, yeah, Doug sent us a list part of the stormwater management. And I wanted to point out something, when we did the resubmission, in the wall, the landscaping area around the mechanical, left out the landscaping across the front. So I owe you that to turn it back on and make that part of it. I'd like to, I just want to make sure you know that.
You mean on the architectural?
We took it off their drawings, and we were gonna put it on ours, so it was all on one, all on ours. So it's not turned on ours, just along the front where, point out to be that the landscape.
Yeah.
So everywhere else, we're pretty tight with it. We added the mechanical pad, put a screen in, but I just noticed that today and my landscape guy's out sick, so. Blind. I just wanted you to know that.
Our resolution, we should have. Letter G.
Maybe I'm not hearing everything that's being discussed, but I thought I received something saying the fire chief. Now I'm hearing we have not.
We did.
We did.
We did get a letter, yeah, sorry. Yeah, we did get a letter,
And it
an
was
approval, yes. For the plans, and I just want to double check on the date. For the plans dated July 17th, 2024.
Yes, that's okay.
That was.
Doug asked for a full submission afterwards, which will include the landscaping, so, you know, when we address his comments, anything that goes on the plan, you know, we'll do a full submission.
Okay.
If that's appropriate.
Do you guys have something new to present?
Pardon?
Do you have something new to present to show us?
No.
Or I see.
This is Anthony Rojas from In Architects, in case you had any questions with our submittal package that we had to update last week. Just want to make sure that you got what you needed if you had any questions.
I think the only other thing that we brought in were samples of the materials that were designated on the exterior elevation, if anybody wants to see the stone. The exterior stone for the base, the stucco finish, the EIFS above the base. And here's the asphalt roofing that's meant to look a little more in the shape of a slate tile instead of a traditional smaller scale residential scale asphalt tile. Those are the main building materials and colors that would replicate that are shown in the rendering.
Anybody wants to take a closer look at those materials?
No, backing up a little. I see there's a set of July 17th plans dated such.
That's what,
Yeah,
I'm only concerned because none of these documents from July 10th do not say, show for instance, the staircase for apartment access that's been added. And I just want to be certain that is in for the set of drawings, including some other things related to the fire.
You're right, our submittal was July 10th, the
Okay.
17th was addressing the fire.
okay.
We met with
So
fire
July
chief and town fortress, code enforcement, you're right. 17th was the last one.
My architectural shows final plans from the tenth.
Yes.
Those were the ones that were approved.
So yeah, so these,
They do not.
No, Rich, no, this, because we got the letter the day of our meeting.
Yeah.
The fire department letter. After that, we met with the fire department on the vehicle turning radius and adding hydrants. And that was what the last submission was. Last Thursday, we met with them.
And what was the date of that?
That would be, that's 17th. Yeah. 18th.
So
So,
if I give you data presenter.
Sure.
where is it?
no, I don't have
I'm
any.
trying to see,
I don't either.
It's all the time.
I think it was
I don't
the,
have the letter. You said it was a letter.
I'm trying to get back to the fire stuff, yeah. Maybe I just referenced.
There were drawings that showed the staircase and some other things. But I didn't bring it because I seemed to be placed. And there was a letter that discussed this.
Yes,
You certainly have the right date.
He said.
Yeah, we
right
need
set
a
of
date on
drawings
the
and
drawings,
underline
yeah.
it.
The fire department letter says in regard to the parcel, we are talking about the Fayetteville Fire Department will endorse the project as it has been presented to us on July 18th, 2024. We are satisfied with the changes that have been made and look forward to seeing this project progress as planned. So he's only referring the date that you showed in the drawings, not the date on the drawing.
We do have, there is one drawing that is dated, it's the fire protection assessment plan, it's dated July 17th.
Is it under Joe? Joe Durant. So let me walk you through that, what was
This
discussed.
is the 17th. Just for the fire.
July 10th.
It says June.
July, you mean the architectural drawings or the engineering drawings?
We might just-
So this was the result of the fire department response to the fire department letter that we received, I believe the day of our planning board meeting last week. So we met with, code enforcement, Tom, and with, Paul Mildred with the fire department. So in their letter, we had a water service, a water line coming in on the far left side in red. It's for fire protection and for potable water supply. And we had provided one hydrant, they asked for two, which are on each one of those islands. And their biggest concern was with vehicle access. They had said, make sure you can get around the site, that's the wheel turning patterns, it's right on tall enough. It shows the ladder truck, their design ladder truck can make it through the site. And then they had made a comment about using Med Center Drive for fire protection. So we provided information on how we would approach that. The building sits on the top of that ledge. So we provided a drawing that shows the ladder truck, the extension. And he said, just give me access for the firefighters to get up on top. And they proposed steps up through here that are the responsibility of the owner to maintain. He said, just so his guys can get equipment up there if they ever had to, instead of having to go all the way around.
So is this supplemental to those 70
It is, yeah,
because
it
it's
went
not
in.
in our, I mean, it was a separate item. And not in the 710
So
packet.
Here's what we did. We submitted our drawings to meet the deadline with Lisa, but we did not we just got the response letter last Thursday. So we responded to that letter and met with those guys. So that's what you're seeing in that letter, which I guess you have as the result of that meeting. So I can give you a complete pack, I can do whatever you want, but
Just so I understand, we do not have plans that show what you're talking about.
probably not. Code enforcement does and the fire department does.
If you recall, in our last meeting, Lisa gave us a verbal. She had received an approval from the fire chief, he didn't subject. And then henceforth, these drawings, I think, showed up electronically. And lastly, there was a letter that I think showed up today from the fire chief
I have not seen
that
that.
Aaron just read.
Yeah, and I
Right.
think,
So I believe this information would be supplemental because he hasn't changed anything else. This is what he gave, he must have given Eldred 2 weeks ago Thursday.
A week ago, yeah, a week ago.
But to Aaron's point, I mean, I heard her read the letter. Eldred doesn't reference this drawing, he just says he agrees.
well,
I have an issue with the stairs, to be honest. I see why they want them, and I can see why it would appear to be a reasonable solution, but the general public's not gonna know that those aren't stairs to be used by them for getting to the building. And they kind of go, I can't really even see, but they kind of go to nowhere. And that's confusing for people.
Well,
I mean,
they picked the location, they said that it worked for them, we can chain it, sign it, whatever.
well, but it does need to be maintained, so that, I mean, you can't like not shovel it all winter because you
But
don't want people going there.
that's in the letter that we did, the responsibility
I
of the
understand
owner.
that, but people are gonna walk up that sidewalk and think that that's how you get to that building.
Do you want to extend it all the way to the parking lot?
I don't-
mean,
I'm not problem solving for this at the moment, I just am pointing out the concern.
Okay, and what I did is when I met with them, I said, how do you want to do this? If we need access to top, where would you like the stairs? They said, just give us stairs. I said, where would you like them? And if you want them all the way,
Does there have to be stairs? Does it, I mean, I don't have any experience with that conversation, but does it have to be stairs? Does it have to be, I mean, I think we need a little more information.
what would you?
I don't have one because it's not my project and I'm not putting it on the spot of coming up with design solutions. I'm pointing out the problem that I have with this.
Right, so. Who code enforcement makes that call,
Of
correct?
course.
So
But
they're the ones.
it's an
that-
unfinished thought, right, is what I'm getting at, like, it's an unfinished thought, there's stairs, they don't go to anything. For people to walk up, you're gonna get people that walk up those stairs and get to the top and are confused about where they're supposed to go.
There's no like any other site,
Parking over there.
I know, but
they're like any other
In
sites, there's like,
parking
you find a Gordon Park or any public park,
Snow.
just get you. Park when they think
well,
or
I've made
something
my
like that.
point, I'll let somebody else chime in, maybe it's just a minor point that isn't a big deal, and that would be fine, but I feel like I need to know that.
So, understood. When I met with code enforcement, what do you require? We wanna get this done and we wanna do it right. So, the fire department said, give me steps in that location, how far do you wanna go, all the way here? Let's get me to the top of the hill, because it flattens off into a lawn. The responsibility goes to the owner. If you want more detail, you can provide it, but I'm like with Tom Porter's one, what do you guys want, your code enforcement and you're the fire chief? Tell us what you want and we'll put it on here. I mean, I don't know how else to put it.
Does the fire department require railings? Do they care? Does the fire department require railings for the stairs, or do they care?
I asked them about the railings,
And then,
not interested, and we made deeper steps on them so that
did they
it's easier to
express
find.
any specifics about the width of tread, width of stairs?
We gave them
railings?
the width of tread, we said, we're doing it's a 18-inch.
And the rise is standard 7 1/4,
Yeah.
7 1/2, something like that?
Doesn't code require a railing?
Not if there's no fall off to either edge, it's just like in any park setting, when you're coming up an embankment, you see steps within the hillside, just so that you can actually climb the hillside. Because there's no drop off of more than 24 inches on either side, because you're following the landscape, the grade of the landscape, there's no railings.
There's no drop off of 24 inches.
You're following the embankment, so the topography is following the actual rise and run of the steps. So can you roll down the hill? Absolutely, but you'll do that if there's steps or no steps. That's why it's not required by code to have railings.
Doug, have you seen anything like this before? I mean, the steps are a new thing that we haven't really
I'm
seen
not
or
so sure that
discussed.
code, that's, you need a handrail, not necessarily a railing.
We understand the code of railings, and whenever there's no fall off of more than 24 inches, you do not require that handrail.
Just speaking for myself.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the stairs, don't have a problem with the railing. It's something that the fire department, here in construction, that's something they want. And there's no parking near that area where people would then say, hey, let's walk up the stairs to go to the building. So all that I'm okay with. But we need to have a set of plans that have the final drawings in it before we can approve it. And I'm not comfortable approving it contingent on.
Yeah.
And again, I'm just speaking for myself.
The only information that's missing on that final set of drawings is the information that was accepted and requested by the fire department and Tom Williams. Now, all the other information that came up to that point has been seen by this board and presented to this board on the drawings that are dated on the 10th. The only additional information that's missing from those drawings is information that was defined by Tom Poitras and the fire department that we responded to, and you've received approval letters based on what they requested us.
I apologize, I've got this air conditioner concern here, but my position is simply this, that we've got a letter from the fire department that says we approved the site plan based on some changes. We don't have those changes. And until we do have those changes, we don't have a site plan that the fire department approved.
They received the drawing that they approved.
But we have,
July 18th, again. that's-
Right, which is these
It
drawings.
was not what July
That was the
18th.
date of the
So-
date you met with them.
If you
I
look
last
at the
Thursday.
name of the file up out there, it says 7/18/2024 is the name of the file up on top. So I'm sure that's where they got the 7/18 date from.
We received a letter last week of our meeting on that day. We scheduled a meeting with the fire department code enforcement. They said, here's what you gotta provide. We provided it, they accepted it. When we sent it back in, we went to Tom, Doug, and Paul Hildreth. I mean, what I'm hearing is you need a complete set. So we got conditions on the stormwater. We do a whole package in, but based on what you're hearing, you can't make a decision for site plan approval, condition on getting a whole package.
There's 6
That's-
items that have to be resolved from the stormwater stuff. And this was just a general comment that I had, but the architecturals and the landscape plans still don't match.
We took all landscape off of it.
Right, and I think that's what you were talking about,
Yes.
right, at first. We took all the signs off, right?
Yes.
I did have a comment that I wanna make for the future when you come back for your sign package. Now seems to be the best time. It would be nice if, in addition to the monument sign that you have near where you're proposing some new steps, you also had a site ID sign over by the driveway as well. As part of the wayfinding, you know, because when people come up or they're coming from another building or facility within that complex, it would help them to see that that driveway belongs to that.
Okay.
It's a general wayfinding thing. I think that was about it, but I'm still think that the thought needs to be finished about the stairs. Maybe
Can I-
it's as simple as a sign next to it that says fire department access only, like,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah, that's
something, like,
Yep.
Some sort of
We
signage,
could-
like
we could
fire
do that.
access only or something.
something to just complete the thought, so that it's not confusing to anyone who might be coming from across the road, seeing as how we may have something across the road, or from the retirement center, walking up and being confused and thinking that's how to get there.
I don't think it's a bad thing at the use. I mean,
So you need to have the sidewalk connect to the pavement, it just ends in grass right now, and are you gonna store snow there, are you going to light it, put pedestrian lighting there, I mean, it brings up a host of other things that you need to complete the thought of the stairway, right?
We will just sign it fire access.
I mean, if you think people are gonna go there, it should connect to the asphalt. You know,
We'll
that,
just sign it
all of
fire
that stuff, and for that reason, I feel similarly probably to Rich that I think I need to see a complete set with the engineer stuff resolved and whatever, and I know there's pressure to complete this project for the board and all, but this project's been going on for a really long time, and we've been doing our due diligence with it as it comes up, but
I will also remind the board, like, this is the second time we got approvals for this project over a year ago, and with much less information than we've seen this
it's
time
an
around.
entirely different project.
It's a much smaller project than what we've seen, and that's the only difference.
It's smaller, but that doesn't
It's
matter.
irrelevant. It's
So
one
I
project.
think, I apologize to the board for a second, because I think, the board was supposed to receive, when we received the fire letter, the codes enforcement officer was asked to send everything to the board, not just the letter, so we should have received those plans. I do believe that we could have that be a condition and put in a complete set. As long, it was approved by fire and codes, I don't know if Doug has another thought, and on your engineering items as well, but I'm of the feeling that we can put it in as a condition for a full set of things.
The only changes on this are ones that respond to the fire department
Yeah.
requirements. correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
For record, amplified only by this, which should not trigger. I'm okay with the staircase, I don't have a problem with it, with the sign, fire use only. It seems to me, it's a practical matter, we can see what the changes are, they don't affect anything that's not comports with the fire department requirements, doesn't seem to affect any other dimension of the project, which we analyzed to a fair degree for a fair amount of time. And they had another 2 weeks, and the developers expressed some frustration, and is that logical, given the time frame we spent on this, and given the changes on this, which are strict, I wouldn't say strictly, but primarily technical to satisfy the fire department. We couldn't find a way to proceed.
I got an issue with the staircase that I'm not sure. But the issue with the staircase, it starts at the beginning, from the sidewalk, am I correct?
Yes.
All right, so if you're starting the staircase from the sidewalk, I'm not talking about going down, I'm going to talk up. You're not gonna restrict anybody that's going up there. That's gonna be an open. It is next to additional facilities and elderly people. People are gonna try to find a way to get easier, they think it's gonna be an access. So, not to consider a rating, not to end the staircase all the way to the top where the parking lot is, not to figure on safety such as lighting and the like, are an issue. And yes, we can approve you and get you going along, but then we will not be doing our due diligence and we'll not be doing it correctly. Says confused. So I totally understand your frustration, but if you can at least assure us and add it to Doug's list, that this will be treated as an actual staircase that will have a beginning and an end, the railing and lighting, all the safeties that are requested there. I will change my vote and I will vote yes.
Absolutely. I think it's, we have it there, we'll extend those good points, and, we will finish this up. Some loose ends there, some loose ends on the landscaping, and the points you made. Those aren't big ads, and appreciate the thought process. We try to sweat the details, we've had everybody involved, so we wanna make sure we do it right by you, so.
And I think those recommendations are really helpful for us, instead of trying to throw darts at the board to see what you would accept or not accept. I really appreciate that feedback, and I think it really helps speed up our process. To just say, yes, we understand this is what you want, we'll respond in kind, instead of just saying, well, I'm not here to make a solution.
When we do our resubmission, we try not to dodge everybody, we try to follow the chain of command to, you know, Lisa and Doug and the codes and all that, so we're trying to just flooding everybody, let you guys hand it out, so if we're not supposed to do that, we'll send it to everybody. I mean, I don't want to overwhelm everybody with tons of information, but we've tried to sweat the details.
The other thing is when you submit it, then pass on the specs, we'll do it.
He's the guy
It will be,
we like.
we're adding all those things onto this list. Or you submit it, and we're approving right now as a board, a particular drawing, without all the things that's on it. We need to know that the drawing that you're gonna be finally submitting, we give to Doug,
Okay.
as what dates are gonna have on it, so we can have it as part of our motion, so that we can include it.
Understood.
Okay?
One consolidated package.
That's what-
I apologize for the confusion.
Question for you. In my package, I've got a sign. And you're saying you removed that from your submittal.
Yeah, it's in the.
Is the sign that's on the building removed also?
Both those signs are there, it's right, in ours, for their building, we took off any reference to the sign.
They pointed to the architectural, which I believe she has in her hand there, is the sign that's drawn for the site monument sign, which was reduced in scale to meet your zoning code. By
And that's not for the submittal.
Well, I pulled these out of the full-size set, because they didn't match what was in the, 8.5 by 11 set. They're different with regards to the sign information on that, so that was a comment I had, I didn't bother talking about it.
It should be one that has the dimensions that you reduce it to, and then the backlit, it's aluminum.
But they're
I
just,
saw that.
I didn't know what they were,
And that's on
they
the,
weren't the same.
on your town website with the correct date, those are the ones that were posted electronically.
So this was out of the roll, and this is the Columbus 17th.
And we're not approved, we would not be approving any signs.
Right, but they're, if the architectural renderings and elevation are part of the package that's being approved, then we would make sure that the sign information on these sheets as well.
Just approve it without signage approval.
We'll take all sides off, no monument, no wall.
So again, with your resubmittal, Doug, all those things added in.
Yes, sir.
and fixed. You will have all the signs removed.
Removed.
I gotta tell you, there's a lot of, in my mind, only one thing, there's a lot of things that need to be done prior to me being comfortable to approve this. So I'm telling you right now, if we vote on it, like, I'm a no vote.
Okay.
Just let you know.
It's unfortunate because the information's been provided and it didn't get passed around to everyone. And I think you'd be a lot more comfortable with it. It's a pretty straightforward project. But I respect you, so
Once we get the information, I would be, but I don't like having plans that show signage and the applicant says, you're not applying for signage.
the last time we were here, we took off all reference to the tenant signs. And we said, we'll leave the monument one on and the med spa on the front. And it would be on part of the architect's package. That's how we left it, when we left last week. So that's what you had to put in there, monument sign that.
Okay,
If you want it off, Rich, we'll take it off.
it's great, it's a good project, it's a good use in that area, I'm happy with that. I'm just not comfortable at this point with some of the things that are left out right now. I can't vote for it. But I just want to vote.
I'd like to get an idea of what the rest of the board thinks about that before we move forward.
Joe, I think the problem with this new version of the med spa has been the same problem we've had since day one. It comes in bits and pieces. And we're always looking at two sets of plans. One's got this information, one's got that information. It makes it very hard because we're looking at 6 or 7 different projects every time we meet. And even though you know all the details of every project, you're asking us to take your word for it. And I do take your word for it, but I feel the same way that Rich does. I'd like to see it all in one place at one time and get it done. Get it done. This piecemealing drives me nuts. And I'm sure it's driving you and it's driving Mike nuts too.
Understood.
Okay.
I piggyback on Arnie, because it seems like you just have more than one here to here, here, and try to piece it all together myself, so. Take a look at skew.
My understanding is correct, with the addition of the July 18th drawing, the changes affecting the fire department, and the elimination of all signage. That's the deal. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
And if it were approved tonight, which seems very unlikely, then that, those two conditions, the inclusion of the July 18th plan and the exclusion of any signage, is subject to our planning board engineer's documentation approval as the documents that go as opposed for the building permit process. So it's locked in. Is that possible?
Yes.
Is that what happens?
Yes.
So I could vote for it.
I've always said that I could do it based on the conditions and the plans. David and Eric?
I don't know, I mean, the sidewalk, I think the signs and all the other stuff is fine, and people look at as the sidewalk.
Steps.
Well, yeah, the steps, sorry, because it's such, it looks like just a simple thing, but when you look at how the circulation works and how people behave, I think that it should be a significant point of liability, and I don't feel comfortable voting on it until we have a drawing that shows it. I really appreciate the position that everybody's in. I really do, but I also think that we tried really hard not to make these contingent, approvals unless it's a very small thing that is, very easily done. And I feel like there's just too many loose pieces for me to be able to be comfortable with it. That said, I don't think that when you button it all up and finish all the thoughts and do all the things that it'll be a problem. I think that the end goal is really there and it will be fine, but I just don't feel comfortable from, especially the stairs, that we were through something that was like, say we're gonna do this and we'll do whatever you want and all that stuff. That's dangerous territory.
Okay. I don't think you're gonna get the answer that you guys want this evening from the board. Do you fully understand what's needed for the next
Yes.
submission to be able to approve the project?
Sure. Yep.
Okay,
Thank you for your time.
all right. I appreciate your time. Thank you, guys.
Are we certain they understand? Are we certain they understand? Pardon? I'd like a specific outline of what's going to change, so we are in some thought 2 weeks again.
Yeah. Okay,
So I don't have any limitations, so folks that do, let's lay it out
Yeah.
specifically, so they go away knowing exactly what they come in with next time.
If Carrie wants to make a list and let the board look at it, that might be helpful, and then she can share that. Is that how that works? Share that with you.
When we submit, we're gonna send to each one. Everybody gets the packages.
No. I think you send it to Carrie to.
But it'll go to Lisa, because Lisa,
I think what Don's saying is,
Mhm.
I have 6 contingencies on the SWIP. What
Yeah,
I heard
which
you
they have
talking,
already.
right, what you have.
Yeah.
What I heard you talking about today is you want reference to all the signs taken off, landscaping plan updated, and I guess formally submit the staircase that the fire department wants.
Well, the other changes on July 18th, plus the staircase, as David outlined and Anthony agreed to.
Mhm.
Right.
I don't want to I'd
Agreed.
rather not go
Yeah.
through this.
Yes, you're right.
Again,
So what's missing from your list is that they're gonna upgrade the staircase to have whatever is necessary for a staircase in that location, including.
well, there are
right,
specific things we asked about,
Necessary
the
by-
railing, compliance from
For
one
safety.
concrete
By
surface
code
to
is one
another.
thing, and by request of this panel is another thing.
That's what we
Because
got
I
to
by
nail down.
code can tell you that there's no railings required and you requested that.
And specifically asked that question,
I-
to codes, and he said, no, not necessary, so
Well,
I'm
it
happy
might
to
not be.
So we're
town
responsible
Manlius
for the
code.
community.
you have to, you as are we,
Now, what
as
we're saying
professionals.
is, well, okay,
We
whatever
carry
you want
the
to
code.
take, take it. You're not gonna get my vote if you don't put a railing, if you don't continue the staircase up
Right.
there, all the way to the end, and you put lighting enough so that people that are gonna be using it are not gonna be in danger.
So
And then we're gonna get this.
So this is a new
No, this is what you
regulation.
agreed to when I
That's
said.
fine. We agreed when you said you were gonna approve today. It was an exception by approval today. That was a part of your comment. So if we need to set the date on what your requirements are for approval next week, then you just define those now.
All right, but
That's
without
fine.
being adversarial, I was gonna make a suggestion.
Okay.
If we add the stuff that I mentioned about the staircase to the list that Doug has, including the stuff that we talked about, which is removing the signage. I think, I don't wanna speak for the board members, but I think that that's basically what we're looking at, with having a complete set, all that stuff in it, with a date set on it, that we can do. I move that we approve it contingent on Doug saying it's all complete.
Tonight?
We move right now that this site, as we discussed, if all those things are done, that is approval. And we have Doug basically be responsible to make sure that these things get done.
Doug?
How does this rule sound if you get a negative vote on this after you make the motion?
Oh, you make the motion, you haven't voted.
No, I understood, but because you make the motion and we got a negative, response, how does that affect our project and moving forward and coming
Yeah,
back next week?
there's still only 3 of us that are willing to approve it with
Well-
conditions.
The board did not do the vote, so it's.
Okay, so we can come back next week
Yeah,
and.
yeah, I mean,
just
if
wanted
we
to
wanna
make
do it that way, my preference
Yeah.
is get a final site plan with all these things on it, this board can then approve it. I don't want the board allocating their powers to the engineer, or this board should be the one that approves the final site plan. So if we can make these I think the modifications are clear to you now, right? After that discussion, after this discussion?
Yes.
Okay, so we can make those modifications, submit the final plan, and then it will be out for consideration at the next meeting.
Okay.
Are you, and you're clear on the, I don't think all of us have those conditions for the staircase, but are you clear on what would get a majority?
So I can ask for who agrees with that condition on the
No,
No, I'm
stairs?
I'm just wondering if you understand what has
Is
been
that,
asked
is that a
about the
single condition,
staircase.
single person's condition, or is that the board's condition?
I would like
Because the
to review
expense
the
and-
code,
The code would be fine, acceptable to us.
and I'm not talking about the town of Manlius, it's code,
No,
I'm
building
talking
code.
about.
Yeah,
Design
we don't-
buildings.
I believe Anthony's correct.
Okay, that's why I just don't
I
know.
believe he's correct, right? Anything less than 24 inches doesn't require a rail. I know that's with decks and I'm pretty sure that.
I just, there's something in the back of my mind, because I've never done a stairway like that without.
Right, but I would leave that to Anthony.
Yeah, and that's why I can't,
Put his license on the line.
Yeah. I don't think that it's a bad idea, but I wouldn't hold you to it if it's not a code requirement.
I agree.
My thing. It's a good idea though, considering the people that are in the area around the big
Yeah.
museum. But it would, if I were to do that, it would be a simple handrail, nothing else. But, if the code doesn't require it, it's required.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I will throw my motion.
Okay, no motion.
Besides that,
This would be nice.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is for Osher Management LLC, 7207 East Tennessee Street, Fayetteville, for an accessory use permit renewal. And this is tax map number 087.07 point, or sorry, -45.0. And we have one on behalf of the applicant. So I don't know if the board has some questions. I did have one question right off the top of it. Have you determined the total square footage of the buildings?
When we purchased it, it was right around 10,000 between the two buildings.
Okay, so you know it's blank on the application, on the renewal application, and it does affect parking. So-
No, we have not added anything to it since.
Right, I just wondered.
Yeah.
So about 10.
It's roughly 10,000. I know the main building is about 7,300.
And you're adding usages in the annex.
No.
Now,
So it's already being used.
The first floor is a financial firm.
Okay,
And right now, actually, the tenant that's upstairs, his lease expires at the end of this month. He's been trying to negotiate with us to extend it. We're really not interested in extending it. So in all likelihood, actually, my husband's business, who is currently in the main building, would move over there, which is just, he's a weather forecaster. Who sees nobody. He just sits in front of the microphone all day.
okay.
So he appreciates your description of the job.
Interesting.
Okay, and so there's no other changes then?
No.
Okay, okay. Does the board have any questions or comments? There was, the codes enforcement officer wrote us that there have not been any complaints from the neighboring property owners or violations. And so that's why he was just asking us to get clarification on what the usage of the secondary building.
It's just gonna be professional.
So that's professional, okay. Okay, if no one has any questions, I would entertain a motion for renewal of the accessory. Okay, motion made by Arnie, second by Rich. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries for the
Thank you.
accessory use permit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is for the telecommunications building for Spectrum, for 5428 North Burdick Street. This is the third presentation, tax map number 086.02-05.2. So I see Matt is here. The thing, one of the things we wanted to ask is what's going on with the architectural design materials, the other options that you guys have come up with.
Well, one, if I could just quickly rehash, is really, we went through ZBA, and this, in my mind, is like kind of our first site planning board meeting with you guys. So I've got a quick presentation, if we can kind of run through that, and then we can talk about the architectural elements that's certainly in that piece.
Okay.
Just There we go. Okay, Matt Navarella, Navarella Consulting, with me, Pete Uhas from from Lakeshore Construction LLC, the representative for Spectrum Charter One. Site location, we all know we're on North Burdick Street, right across from plus or minus the Tesla car dealership, a little bit to the east of Kohl's and south of the other car dealerships, and a little bit south of the new proposed Twin Ponds development. Site location from a helicopter aerial view of the existing condition, showing that existing Charter One building, of which the proposal is to raise that building and to put a new building. But we, as we talked about in our previous presentations to you, we can't raise that existing building until the new building is constructed. And that new building, per our site plan, is slightly larger, but repopulated with brand new equipment. And in meeting today's code requirements for this essential facility, we had some discussions through our area variances with regards to the visual impact of this building, the cooling units that are needed, and now on the east side, we've got new cooling towers populated. Those cooling towers, from the first time you saw it, got larger because of the requirements to get that cooling from the ideal location to this east side of the building location. When the mechanical engineers ran through their equations, had to change what that cooling demand is to keep all of that equipment under climate control. As such as well, there is a significant emergency generator requirement for this facility. Again, this is an essential facility design. The site plans that you now have are populated with site grading. We are, even with this, less than 1 acre of impact, so we are showing positive drainage, but we are not in a New York State DEC speedies permit requirements because we're less than 1 acre of impact. Site utilities, there will be a small water closet for workers when they're there, so there will be a small water service and sanitary sewer service brought to the site. You see that the existing facilities are on the west side of North Burdick Street, so they will be brought across Burdick Street. The water line will be missiled. It's only a 3/4 inch water service. And the sewer line will be a gravity run. And we're anticipating, since it's North Burdick and County Road, that we'll be boring that water service. Power is coming from the existing service to the south of the existing building and connected into, again, that emergency generator supply. Landscaping, we'll get into that with our graphics. And I know in one of the comments from the board's work sessions is like, why do you still have this phasing plan? And we still kept it in there because frankly, the planning board in our referral period wanted to see this phasing. So again, existing conditions starts up in the upper left corner. The phase 1 is the construction of the new facility with the existing facility still there until point in time that building is ready to start transferring the equipment and bringing the new equipment in so that they can do a proper turnover. There has been a defined date in which that turnover has to occur. It's 12 months after codes determine that it's the life safety and a C of O can be achieved. But again, there's some turnover time frame. So the bottom left corner shows the third phase of the program, which will be taking down or raising that existing building and leaving the site in a condition of just the new building. The board in those conversations said, well, what happens in some unforeseen future? And so Spectrum and Pete through Lakeshore said, well, we don't know what the future is, but there is a potential And if the demand in this 50-mile radius for this communications facility and internet hub is needed, we could potentially add to the south of that existing building. Of course, that would all come with new presentations and new presentation to the board.
Yeah, we've asked that you remove any future expansion off the plans.
Certainly can. That's just for reference only.
Yeah, it has to be off the plans.
We'll just take that sheet out, but just as an explanation, not a problem. The graphic on the board now, the previous rendering that the architect put together showed more of a spruce tree and not the green giant arborvitae. We've asked the architect to update his, and the program's called SketchUp. So this shows the updated architecturals. So this is the planting height of that green giant arborvitae is 6 to 8 feet. This shows a height of after about a 5-year point in time frame, because we don't want to show right at planting, but we figured this is about the average with the growth rate of a green giant arborvitae, which is a fast growing arborvitae tree. So that populates that height about 15, 16 feet. So this graphic is representation of that 5-year plan with regards to a vibrant green giant arborvitae tree and the inkberry bush that we're proposing in the frontage of that. Another view of that, and this is populated after the existing building is taken down. We extend the fence at that point in time, and we extend that landscaping to the driveway intersection. So this is updated, taken out those spruce trees and put it in the green giant arborvitae. So we wanted to present that to the board, and I do have 11 by 17s of this updated rendering piece. That building, and I'll go back one, that building proposal, and I'll get into that, is the split face block with proper banding with a flat roof. What we did is we had the architect take a look at our neighborhood. And directly across the street is Kohl's. Kohl's is a split face block building, same earth tone colors, flat roof. And that extends, that's a pretty big building, as we all know. The Tesla, which frankly took the old Fayetteville Dodge and put a little bit of lipstick on it, but not a lot of lipstick, frankly. Flat roof system, parking lot on the side, pretty bland building. The Romano Ford building, if you look at the color scheme of the Romano Ford, and Pete was just talking to Barnes and Cone, it's the exact same block that we're proposing for this building. Earth tones with the banding of the darker tan and the lighter tan. So very.
Matt, I just want to interrupt you for a second, just to point out that those were all done before the comprehensive plan was in place.
Understood, but this is the comprehensive plan, talks about the neighborhood.
We showed you the comprehensive plan of the desirable and the undesirable.
We
are supposed to adhere to the comprehensive plan of this board.
I understand.
For the town.
I understand.
I'm not sure you do.
Well,
Because you keep coming to us with the same thing, and we're trying to tell you.
I just got 3 more slides, and then we can talk about it, because this leads to.
Go ahead.
Why it
I'm
has
just
to be.
remembering when you said at the meeting before you went to the ZBA that certainly when we get through the ZBA, we will come back and we will have different color
And
schemes
again,
and things available.
we talked to the architects from Spectrum One, who again, and that this is, I'm just a messenger, and that's why Pete is here as well. So I'm just gonna flip through these other buildings. This is the building, just so the board knows that in this correspondence, Val said, this is something we see, this is a Verizon piece of building in Camillus. The problem with this is the pitch roof and the asphalt shingle. That to us, the pitch roofs with asphalt shingles are susceptible to damage and penetration from forced nature storm events. The application for this essential facility, and this essential facility as well, not only has our snow load criteria, but the interior of those bar joist systems are holding the weight of a lot of equipment in the cabling systems from each of those units. So when we get into that, that's why the pitch roof for this application, and a flat roof is necessary for this essential facility and this utilitarian building. As an example of that, last week, we just had some pretty horrific storms in Rome area. I mean, it hit around here, but two tornadoes hit Rome, and several structures in Rome with pitched roofs were damaged, including St. Mary's Church. Now, you look at that church, the pitched roofs were what got ripped off, the steeples got ripped off, but the block infrastructure did not get damaged. That's an example of what Charter One is telling Pete when he builds these, that these facilities have to withstand more than just standard building code. It has to withstand a force nature event. And that's what we've been trying to express to the board, and with that, I'll give it to Pete.
So your questions and your comments have not been falling on deaf ears. We just have a functional building that has to meet certain criteria, as Matt stated. A pitched roof, which increases the probability of water penetration. Based on the size of this building, if we were to put a pitched roof, I don't have the capability of structurally putting enough in the ceiling for it to carry. What Doug's mentioning is, I believe the last time we were here, we showed a picture of the inside with all of the ductwork, all of the racking and that. We also carry all the DC cabling. This is a 3-part system. We have AC coming in. We have a DC backup that runs 24/7, not a millisecond of difference. Otherwise, we'd have outages. And then we have a standby generator. We have to hang cabling in duct systems off those bar joists that I have to account for 253 pounds per lineal foot. I can't do that in a pitched roof system, nor can we expose ourselves to a weather event. The block in this building with the rebar, with the coring sustains, is designed to sustain a 170-mile-an-hour wind.
Can I ask you, I understand what you're saying, but let me just jump in here if I could. And it may not be, and if I say something that isn't what you're thinking, jump in. But if you built the building as you have it designed, but put a fascia on it that looked like a pitched roof or something different than a flat roof, would that be a problem?
Well, Rich, I would ask for definition, where, how, we've got a 70+ foot facade running parallel to Burdick Street.
Yeah.
Are we talking there? Are we talking on the north end, the south end?
I would say, I mean, in my mind, if I'm hearing what Valerie's saying, if we could do something on the North Burdick Street side that makes it look a little bit more like the apartment complex or whatever, just to give it a little bit of flavor that doesn't make it look like an industrial building, that may satisfy some of the people on the board.
Yeah, I think a picture that you forgot to include was even the garages of the retirement living community that look better than this building.
The one
Their
further
garage,
north there,
their garage,
the back side of them
the
that face
garages look better.
just a flat wall
Yeah.
that faces Burdick Street on the berm.
They
I
at
walked
least
them
had,
today,
they at
it's a
least
flat
had
wall.
some, they have a little bit of character to their garages.
Okay, so,
So that picture right there, if I stand there and I look to my right, there's Burdick Street. There's a berm there. I have a picture on my phone, I was there today. There's the garages which face that building, because I parked my truck right there. And all I see is the back slope of the roof and a 9-foot brick wall.
Yeah, I mean, we could
I
pull it
mean,
up on,
there's really no character there.
we could
We're
pull
gonna
it
use
up
that
on
as a
Google
reference.
Maps, but it has a pitched roof, it's got some, dormers, and I'm just saying, that's a garage, so
We have.
I'm just asking, like, what you're saying. We know you need a flat roof. Build your flat roof and then build some facade or,
Something.
yeah.
So
can
we're
I,
limited to a 22-foot height. You gave me a 22-foot height
yeah, can
restriction.
I might have a little, like, solution here. I understand the structural needs and all of that, and I get that. And then there's the security and the conditioning of the space and all of that. Now, I also think there's a very interesting line that gets drawn between drawing attention to utilitarian buildings and trying to make them bland so that you don't notice them. And because of where this one falls, it's a very interesting line that's drawn there, right? And the combination of the landscaping, which I don't have a problem with, the fencing is a little bit more ornamental than chain link. And there are some things that could possibly be done to the building, I think, that would make it a little bit closer to being something that you see in your peripheral vision that is pleasing without being overtly noticeable, okay? So if, for example, let's see if this is a dog,
Okay.
a cat's head, the building colors could, and I know you're referencing other buildings that are nearby, and that's not where we're going in the future, so we have to make a change at some point, and today is the day for this project. The red brick colors are a little bit more appropriate, okay, I'm gonna say that first. Can you go back to the picture of the Manlius utility building, please? That one, so there's some color in there that's also different. There's the banding, there's the arch, so I get it, throw away the peaked roof. But you could have a parapet, you could have some fenestration type things around the corners that would bring that out. You could have a little bit of relief perhaps, like these are either there were old windows or doors there and they ripped them in, but you know, there's an opportunity to add a little bit of detail in your masonry. And it's not straight laying that block, I get it, but at the same time, it adds a little bit of something. And the colors there are really nice. I think the colors are something what they're going for. And I don't know that it was the board's intention to show that building and say, we want pitched roof.
Right.
It's about the style and the flavor of the building itself. And I don't think we need to have a pitched roof. And I'd rather not see something that looks like Wild West with a big thing sticking up either, personally, my opinion. But to have a little bit of detail in the masonry and have even a parapet of some sort, if that's I think the right word, it just adds a little bit of interest. So does
I
that
think
cross through?
some vertical in and out, so you have a series of shadow lines vertically. I have no interest in pitch roof. I think at some point a building does what a building does, pitch roof in this case doesn't represent what the building does. Shouldn't be embarrassed by it, but I think what I would call better, more interesting building articulation. And primarily that's creating a series of shadow lines and separation of surfaces. So it has some visual activity to it rather than the blandness, frankly, that's what they're at.
Well, and I think everybody would know, we're trying to be as nondescript as possible. It's a secure facility, so that's why we've stayed with it. But the question I have for you, go back to the garage. On the Coles building, there's a couple of columns
Yeah.
facing vertex. Is that you? Again, I don't want to add more height to it,
No, and that's fine, but
and you've already restricted my height, and I'm at the top
you
of
can
it
make
now.
it look like that with
Can you go back to
the
that?
masonry,
You want coals?
right?
I
Like,
got you there too.
you can make
I'll have to
you can
stop
make it
sharing.
look like that with the masonry, even if it's not polished, right? Like, the architect or designer to look at that facade, show them the image of the other one, and say, can you make this have an architectural interest and character, rather than just be, you know, there is a line there, but like I said, like, you give it too much detail and too much interest, and all of a sudden everybody's like, whoa, look at that, you know, we don't want that either. You know, so
What
there's,
is that? Yeah.
right, there's a line, but, it can be interesting and quality and understated. Maybe it's a bit.
So I'm just saying, if you look at that, there's a couple dimensions there, to your point of
Yeah, I mean,
shadow line.
it breaks it up, these are architectural tools that architects use too.
As far as the colors go, okay, we have our standard colors, but, you know, I wasn't gonna bring all of them in, but, you know, there's probably about
Yeah.
40 or 50 different colors you can choose from when it comes to split face,
Well, and,
uninsulated
maybe you
bar.
have some split face and maybe you work in some bands of brick. Maybe I'm talking about,
The brick would be tough
What we-
only
what we
because
kinda
because
wanted
of
to-
structure.
Yeah, I guess what we wanted to see that keeps not coming to us, and that's why it's getting a little frustrating, is go back to your architect. Have the architect present a few different options. And have us look at those options based on what Aaron and Don and Rich were saying. So that we could look at that and as a board, decide on something.
so I'll say
To
right
your
now,
point, it'd be difficult to mix the brick in because of those walls being structural. Now, we can put a secondary build out to it. I'm saying in a banding
okay,
scenario, we
Okay.
need the maintain block, we could change color of block. But we
that
need the
doesn't do
maintain
it for
block.
me, honestly, when you take that split face stuff and then you just switch one row for another color, it's like,
Well, I'm saying, from the horizontal aspect, that's what I would have to do. Now, from a projection standpoint, on a vertical, we can do something different.
put some veneer, put some half block and some other block, I mean, I've seen enough do wall sections, I know you could do it.
I don't wanna-
It's not rocket science.
I don't wanna sound like a broken record either, but I've shown this to Matt before, I'm not sure if you were at that meeting, I've said refer to page 67. You could show your architect, this is their comprehensive plan, this is what they're looking for, I know what the restrictions are, that you can and cannot do, windows and all of that stuff. But compared to what is in the below pictures, so we're trying to get away from that and get more to this in any way that we can, and so I feel like if it's a professional architect, they should know what they can do to the building for some options. Sorry, David, you were gonna say.
I was just thinking, don't need to put windows, fake windows would be great.
Well, we
Trying to
can't.
change something.
Yeah, we know you can't put windows in it.
Oh, yeah, fake windows would be great. And I, looking like windows on the outside of the brick would be fine. You don't have to put a window, just, you're trying to break away from a box. That looks like a box. It matches all the old colors that we've got. Trying to give the community something much better. So we give it examples, what we need your architect to do, look at those. And come up with ideas that breaks this block building that we see and associates it with the vision that community has come up with. That's it's not that we're not gonna approve your site. I think it's a good way of putting it. Thank you, by the way, for phasing, except for the last one. That was very, very good, very.
Thanks so much.
Okay, go ahead, Ernie.
Peter, from the aesthetic to the more practical, that backup generator is enormous. Kind of walk me through what it does, how it does it.
So
what kind of noise
it is a standby generator. There's two classifications. There's an emergency generator and a standby generator.
Standby.
We run a three-way parallel system. We have AC. DC takes over when AC fails. And it's instantaneous. There's automatic transfer switch and manual transfer switches. The generator is there for as if it extended a period of time, and in this case, the DC battery bank that we have in here can last upwards of a week of running the power. It's a massive, my battery pack is 43,000 pounds of batteries. Okay, so we can run that, not at a full blast if the AC is running, but we can also then on a standby generator, that through a cam lock system comes back in, feeds the main power, but also works with the rectifiers that replenish the DC charge. Okay, so it's a backup to a backup.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's all designed to obviously never have that outage where everybody's systems reset, banking, hospitals, whatever the case may be. We've all been through the what's happening type scenario. So it does run 2 days a week. It runs a 25-minute test run that's usually set based on the location. In this case, I would imagine it'd be somewhere around 10:30 in the morning, on those two select days. And I know I promised to have it, and I had it, and I didn't write it down. I will tell you this, the generator that's there is half the size, and we are 1/3 of the sound of the current generator. They are a dampered, muffler, insulated box system on the generators.
And it
So,
runs for 2 hours every,
no, it runs for 20 minutes,
for
twice a week. Twice a week. It's just a periodic, and the whole system gets checked through, and it's all monitored through central monitoring.
Can you give me an idea of the DBA of this thing when it's running?
I had it, I will send it to the board, I had it, it was very low compared to most, I would,
it's a diesel generator.
it is a diesel generator, it's a self-contained tank. I carry enough fuel with, with safety precautions for, in this case, for 48 hours only because the proximity, it's easy to get fuel. If I'm up on the top of the hill, like a building went up in Gloversville, I provide 72 hours of diesel on that.
So there's internal dampening?
Pardon?
There's internal dampening in
Yes,
the generator?
within the generator itself,
And
yes.
will there be, I can't remember from this, to tell from the plan, will there be some fencing to dampen around it?
It's all happening internally. We don't close them off to the point like in some cases where they'll put a stockade fence or a wood fence around it or a chain link with banding. The air requirements that it requires to get in. So we, on the cat generators and the series that we use, we do all the internal dampering so that there's no necessary extra required.
Having lived through a 2 weeks without power, will this thing go 2 weeks without power?
The tank holds enough fuel for 48-hour run.
Okay.
Okay, but we subscribe to a fuel service that our monitoring, both internal and external, is tied to them. Okay, and they would replenish.
Sounds pretty impressive. I just want to make sure it wouldn't be a nuisance to the people who are going to be driving by or walking by.
Well, we're on the backside. It is, again, every critical infrastructure building has some form of backup, be it a medical facility, hospital facility. It's the nature of the beast that we need to have it, obviously. Nobody decides to put a $250,000 generator next to the building for cats.
But you
But
did
again,
say this
there's
is
something there
materially
now.
quieter than the current system.
Yes,
is that
that's just
correct?
it.
Absolutely.
On a percentage basis, what percentage part would you say?
Probably about 65% quieter. Like I said, it produces about 1/3 of the decibel rating of the current generator, which is a 125 kW.
Have you had any complaints from anybody about
No.
generator noise historical?
Nope.
And the plantings will actually muffle some of the noise.
Well, that was my real only comment on this project, honestly, was about that. And I was hoping that you might consider running the line of planting the full way for not to start off for several reasons. One, if you were to come back at some point, you'd have maybe different heights and it would look weird.
Oh, from in
On
phase
both sides,
one,
the stream,
run the planning.
run the planting the whole way down.
We were
Yeah.
just worried about when we demo that building that we would be impacting those plantings. And
Well, you're
it's-
well within, I mean,
We'd be able to access
Your
it
call.
ourselves.
Okay,
Yeah,
no, again, I
yeah,
just being
I
sensitive
assumed
to,
you wouldn't be
How far off
mobilizing on verdict. So I would think.
we're like 15 feet away, so we can do it. It's just we have to pull from the backside.
Yeah, I think, they're not gonna let you shut down verdict anyway.
No, I
And
just,
that said, I would like to request you consider the same with the fence. So there's a little bit of confusion if you consider the staging plan, how and when the remainder of that fence goes in. Because in one way, if you look at some of the text, it looks like the new fence angles back and then would die into the existing building.
So,
But then it looks like it comes down all the way around, and if it comes down all the way around, then you take out a section to demo the building, what?
so currently we have fence around the existing structure and it's just regular chain link fence, 4-inch post. And that encompasses the whole thing. We would take the north side off because we need the room to move between the two buildings and the construction. We would bring the fencing, the new fencing would come down and get to that point, and then at the point of the demise of the other building, then, and again, to Rich's point, or to Matt's point, we need to allow some room for the demo of that building. So I don't wanna put that fence there. We already have fence that's
But
encapsulated.
you are, you're showing that,
What's that?
you're showing new fence
On
All the way around,
phase
yeah.
4, okay.
all the way around. So I'm asking if, instead of jogging the fence back in toward the new building, if you could run that new fence parallel with the trees and run that whole thing, fence and trees, the entire verdict side of the property.
Mhm.
And then if you need to do things to remove that building in your 12-month period, maybe that section gets left, you know, on the south side, the existing driveway side, maybe there's a section of that gets left as chain link, or if you put in something cheaper, so that when you're taking that building out, you can come back and finish that off with your next fence.
I'm not ignoring you.
You're
Running
thinking,
through
I get
the
it.
logistics of
Yeah,
my
yeah.
head.
Well, I was
And
trying
how
to.
I follow you here.
Yeah, yeah.
I follow you.
Yeah,
We got it.
no, I'm just thinking through my head how I sequence that.
Yep.
And maintain the ability to get in there. But I
You can
will,
work it out, I
Yeah.
think, right?
We can do it.
And then basically that gives you a continuous line of fence, new fence and trees all the way down. And then whatever you do on the south edge and behind there, you know, maybe there's some discussion.
In a sense, also permits the need for a chain link fence.
Yeah, remove the old one,
Don't need it.
put the new one in all the way down the road.
Yeah.
Remove the existing chain link that's probably pretty ratty. And then we're one step forward to a nicer looking facility in the short term before the new building.
I would still be, if I was to remove that west side chain link existing and run this. On the south side, I would still need a temporary.
Yeah,
Because I need to encapsulate.
think about that, about how you would do your demo and all the rest of your, you know, phasing for your generator and your site work and all your other stuff, and figure out what makes the most sense for you from the south side to the back.
Right.
That little chunk in there, probably you can work that out, but for right now on verdict, you know, I assume you'll be back and you can.
I don't need to read your mind, but I think you were right on the track. Before demolition and after.
Right.
And you got enough fence to build after demolition.
So,
I usually agree a lot with Aaron, but on this, I don't. I think,
Woke her up.
I think.
Ready for a fight.
When somebody's coming in to do a development, I don't want, my opinion, I don't want this board to tell them how to do it. We wanna know what it's gonna look like on the end and when that end is. But how they get there should be left up to the developer, not this board. That's fine.
Point well taken. I don't think.
My preference would be to complete the plantings so that we are uniform north to south. And then phase in the fencing. That would be my preference.
Sure.
We're guaranteeing a completion of
Yeah, I mean, I
phase
just
1
throwing
to
it out
phase
there.
2, to Rich's point.
yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Good point.
I did wanna make one point of clarification in the comments received from the last meeting in regards to it and our application, where it referenced sidewalks need to be included.
Mhm.
And as we can see from our rendering and from the site, they're on there. Or sidewalk, I should say. They're on the
The whole
plan.
length of the property.
So I just wanted that point of clarification, because it was a comment in the notes.
Yeah, I think that's. See the sidewalk somewhere, but.
All right, it's
Well,
there.
they're there.
It's there.
We went down
Oh.
for
And it
that.
might have been,
That's where you can try, I understand.
that may have been,
I think it was in
I
a
feel
response, I think it was in a response.
It was just in the
Yeah.
response.
Right, where you said you wouldn't put it in.
yeah, where you said, yeah, there was something.
To be constructed when the
It
time
said we
location.
wouldn't put them in when the rest of the streets.
C4.
I just don't know how that gets handled. Yes, it's private sidewalk typical to be constructed when the time locations are available to the north and south. It's
Yeah, we
tough
want
to-
it to be done before the time.
Okay. And what do I do at the termination at the two ends? What do I do? Cause there's no sidewalks there now.
I know, it's weird, but it's how you move forward.
No, I understand, I'm saying,
Oh.
And then.
what do I do? Do I just come
Let's
up right?
end it, yeah.
Yeah. just-
Okay, fine.
We don't have a problem with it, we just, again, we were piggybacking on what Charlie Brewer said in that one meeting, so.
I know, but then he says that he'll put his in when
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
always put in, and then then
Yeah,
nothing
no.
ever gets done, and everybody.
That's all I'm
somebody
saying.
says-
Add my line
That's not a-
determination,
Yeah.
Yeah,
leave it at the grade, no step up.
Yes.
And I did.
yeah, and I
is
think so,
there
you just have to note the plans, take that notation.
We'll take that note off, not a problem, that's not a problem for us.
a question about the width? Does the comprehensive plan or the road size and volume determine the sidewalk width?
I'd have to check on that, I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
Okay,
They're showing 5 foot.
is it, okay,
Yeah, I don't,
I didn't know if they had, if those had been sized by the master plan.
no,
As long as.
I didn't see anything.
I see. Okay. So
So,
when do you guys think you could have this done? I'd like to get this on schedule for a public hearing, but I wanna make sure that what we've asked for is going to be able to be turned in before, in
Okay.
enough time to have the public be able to view.
when would be the next public hearing available?
We usually schedule them
So if you're,
every 2 meetings.
yeah, so if you're gonna set a public hearing, it would have to be for not your next meeting,
Right.
but the meeting after to give us time to get it published for.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay,
Which is
so-
August, I don't have my calendar, I can look it up.
so if I get some renderings with some different details, are we gonna be required to come back here, or can we submit them for comment? Or before we go to public hearing, or do we need to,
I mean, if you,
go around 6?
no, if we can get them in, like Carrie was saying, in enough time for the public
Okay,
to view them.
So. So your next meeting is the 12th of August. So play it safe to make sure you have everything and
Yeah, we
make sure
usually
we
do
get
it
it out.
next one.
It would be August 26th would be the date for the public hearing for that.
Question you're asking is Tuesday prior, before the public hearing.
Well, we would need it before the public hearing.
There's a date.
No, I'm saying, typically, it's right there. No. It's the middle date.
Yeah, I mean, they would, go ahead, Rich.
I was just gonna say, probably the 16th of August is the deadline to submit.
It's on the website.
Yeah, well. Sorry, I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, it's actually that Wednesday before the 14th, Wednesday the 14th.
Sometimes there.
So,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So for
Yeah.
the 26th, you would need to have everything in by noon on August 14th.
There you go.
Yeah,
that what you guys
so
are
if
looking
you think you could do that, then we can,
Yeah,
I
that's
can
fine.
entertain a motion to schedule
We'll
the
do it.
public hearing.
Yep.
But we're asking for some architectural options like we're looking for, not another memo that says you can't change anything.
I hear.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Want a
a
motion?
motion for to set a public hearing,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to schedule a public hearing for, what was it, 26th?
August 26th.
26th of August.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Rich, second by Arnie, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries for public hearing for August 26th. Okay, and if you guys have
And
any
in the
questions.
infirmary, I will email support that rating. I pulled it off, it's on my desk.
Thanks, Peter.
I won't be home for another couple of days.
Okay, and if there's any
As
questions.
soon as we get
let
some
us know.
architectural, we will feed you guys.
Yeah,
that's
great.
Yeah.
Pulling teeth.
Okay,
I think you need the whole package so that.
yeah, and because we need the updated landscaping drawings as well.
Yeah, we'll give you a whole shot.
Okay,
Thanks, Matt.
thank you.
So again, phase 1 would have the complete landscape on the front side, we'll phase in the fence.
Yeah.
I just wanna be
I
clear.
have no additional comments at this point, so we can see.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is Danielle and Ryan Ewert, 8291 East Seneca Turnpike, Manlius, New York, 13104. It's been a little while, but this is now the sixth presentation for site plan subdivision and special use permit for the Costas Doggy Daycare. It's tax map number 099.01-27.4.
And I am. Tom, I see that after me, a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Well, hold on. Okay. And just for the board, I know we have some new members, they've been in front of us. So, we've seen some different iterations, but got a different new engineer for this project, and I do have to say, in looking at the plans initially, it looks like we're headed in a much better direction.
I guess, right?
So if you'd like to bring that and show us what you have.
Greg Stone, Stone Engineers. And what I'd really like tonight is just because I'm new to the project, and so I don't have a lot of feedback from work with like did like. So we met with we came up with a plan that I think has addressed a lot of the concerns the board has or asked for. Your subdivision is, it has, I think, good traffic circulation on the site and plenty of space for the two uses that are going to be on the site. The two uses are essentially a doggy daycare, and which is in this building here, which is about 2,000 square foot of open space and a 200 square foot office / bathroom area. And then in the back here, it's existing use for where they store some lawn care equipment. They have a lawn care business, and back there is where they store the mowers and that sort of thing. And there's a pole barn here, a couple sheds, and then this is the new building here. The existing house has a daycare center already associated with it, and there is a shed here which is going to kind of straddle the property line. And so we figure out kind of how to handle that. One thought I had was at any point in time if ownership changes, that has to be whether that works or not from a legal standpoint. I think maybe we get a chance to discuss it. So the overall site is about 7.5 acres or so. We're looking at subdividing this piece here to about 60,000 square feet, so roughly just shy of an acre and a half. Nice square, meets all the requirements for zoning. Again, the only thing is this one shed here's got a little encroachment on the side yard setback. And that one there is a split from the property line. So the key portion of the site, we put it on an aerial for you so you kind of have a better visual of the site, what's existing and what's surrounding it. The darker gray here is all existing gravel area. And then there's currently there is a gravel area here out to the road. So a lot of this area where the building is and a significant portion of that driveway area is already there as a gravel sort of impervious surface. The site's going to have 8 parking spaces, 88 compliant space for code. There's circulation around for stores here primarily to get out, keep the site. The driveway, there's a compliant driveway, so there's safe and easy access, compliant access coming off of the site. This area here will be a fenced-in area. Currently, there is a fence that runs from here to here, which is an 8-foot-high solid wood fence. Kind of clear translucent, semi-translucent stain on it. They're looking at replicating the same fence line type of fence for the rest of this, so it's a decent height, solid boards. A very nice buffer area there for that. Building wise, it's currently on site's a pole barn type building. Nice, nothing nothing extraordinary. This one here, looking kind of sprucing up a little bit. Will still be a pole barn building. Front will have, way that's, covered. And, right behind it is the office, and this all wide open area, for the dog. We pass that down to the side yard. So this is where it goes into the fenced area, so they could open up the doors and have a free flowing area for dogs. The site plan. Floor plan. Basically one large room here, front entrance here, office, bathroom, washer, dryer, shower, dog wash, this is the garage door. It opens up out to the yard, and then there's a man door also for. Thoughts, questions, comments?
Yeah, so we don't have a regular attorney here with us, this evening, but, she was at our, agenda meeting, and, so she did advise us legally that unfortunately, the landscaping business it's not being approved as part of this. And so that other use would have to stop. Because there can't be another use.
There can't be two uses on one site.
No, because and correct me, Doug, if I'm wrong, the landscaping business is not an accessory use to the daycare or vice versa.
I guess I didn't read anywhere in the regulations where you couldn't have two uses on one site.
Yeah, that's what Jamie said, and I believe it was discussed with the applicant once before.
Clarify to us exactly.
Tell them that way.
That's already my opinion, because it's all really, it's all really accessory to that lot. And stores like ours. Once quite a while ago, is that currently the landscape business is accessory to the home. And that's how that works, but when you subdivide it and make a separate lot, you can't have two almost accessory uses without a main use. And that one can't be accessory to the other with the way that the code is written for what the zone would be for this site. Does that make?
But yeah, it would still be in the same area, but just a division, imaginary division of separating the two lots.
These are legal things that.
No, I know.
Yeah, it has to do with the
We didn't want it.
But originally, we were gonna draw the line across and stuff, keep it separated that way.
Then they're not conforming.
Yeah, and the lots are non-conforming lots. That's what the issue was before, so I think when we thought that we decided on the daycare as the use for that lot, not the
I'm not
landscape.
sure it's in the code, I think it may be, we need to get the clarification.
Yeah, we need to get it from Jamie.
I believe it may just be, taking this for law. But yeah, I believe Jamie's interpretation was you can't have, two businesses be accessory to each other. Right, you can have a home use, you can have, like the daycare is accessory to the home use. Currently, the lawn care is accessory to the house. Or you put them both on one.
Yeah, a lot.
That's the way it works.
Well, so my understanding is the zone changed to RA. Right, so
Yeah,
now
that
it
was the
doesn't have to be an
initial- yeah,
accessory
that's
use to anything, it's a allowed use under a special use permit. But I didn't see anything where it said you can't have two uses. on one
We'll
lot.
clarify.
Yeah, we'd have to clarify
Yeah,
with Jamie for
let's
sure,
talk to
yeah.
Jamie.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to Jamie, but, a couple other things, like I said, otherwise, the subdivision looked cleaner and, the building looked nicer, kind of what we were talking about in the last, item on the agenda. As far as sprucing that building up a little bit, it looks nice from the, from the street and for the character of the area that it's in, neighborhood. And I don't know if those are my comments, I don't know if the
One
other comments
question, just
before.
for clarification on drawing C2, we have existing gravel, we have some light gray, which I'm think becomes asphalt pavement, no existing gravel, and all that grade. Does everything in those two categories become paved asphalt under this plan?
No.
No, some of them would become grass.
Because the color code over here,
Yeah,
we either have asphalt building or grassed area. We don't have any under proposed gravel.
And I think that we can look at that to clarify, some of it will be asphalt, and some of it we're looking at maybe gravel.
The entrance now is asphalt.
That's okay. Whatever it is right now, it looks like it all becomes asphalt.
Yes.
So,
It's just asphalt, and then it's gonna remain stone. And then if you're looking at the building to the left, we were actually gonna get rid of that gravel on the left side of the other building and turn it into grass. We were actually gonna get rid of some gravel and turn it into grass.
I see where that's marked, the gravel area, proposed grassed area. That was of less concern, because that I sort of understood. It's this mix between existing and unlabeled light gray, and then looking at proposed, I don't see any gravel listed, so I'm not arguing what it should or shouldn't be, just what
Yeah,
do you want, what are you going to do if this were to move forward?
Yeah, like, is the gravel gonna stay gravel and then the paving is gonna be the only
Let me
paving?
get
or-
some clarification on that.
No, how did we get this far? I mean, we've been talking to the Newards now for 2.5 years.
About a year and a half, it seems, yeah.
And if it's always been two businesses on one lot, we spent a lot of time trying to get a better subdivision, I think we certainly did. But it's always been two businesses. If you can't have two businesses accessory use to each other, why did we let it go this far? I mean, we've been dragging these folks out now forever, and now we tell them you can't do this, so this. Is there something here that we can
That we're forgetting.
get out of this? Yeah. This.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of where we were at the end, the last time you guys were in.
I was.
I thought we were,
saw had this
I-
subdivision.
yeah, when we saw the
Going like
subdivision,
this
I
or
think we
something.
thought, okay, you've decided on the dog daycare business as the sole
This
business.
business has always
in
been
the
there for over 20 years. Why
Yeah.
would we take that?
Well, cause
stop that?
and I think, yeah, I can't, but that one still doesn't have a permit either, is my understanding. So whatever
Hard to
business
believe
is
that
gonna be
that's
on
some kind
there
of an approval.
has to be an approved
That's a big one.
permit, so I think that's what Arnie's trying to say.
Yeah.
This is the first time it's been in front of the board this year. We do have, I apologize that James not able to be here tonight, but we do have to get clarification from her, and then, so we can, give you
I can
guys
talk
that
to her
answer,
directly.
but, yeah, but I'm pretty sure, I mean, that's what she advised us. And again, I think I was under the impression that it was the dog daycare business and what we were going forward with, so.
Originally, when we sat in front of you guys, we were gonna subdivide it differently so that my business was still part of the house.
Yeah.
And we thought it'd be better to give you a clean look like that, so that, it probably never came up before about those two, because originally it wasn't gonna kind of be a subdivision.
That's why we were getting, or they were getting separated out the property lines.
Property line.
Right, that's why we tried.
The
Yeah.
property
Because
lines.
you don't want to have to go for the variance for it because.
Well, there was like frontage and square footage and side yard and all the things.
But I think
And
you've,
so-
and you've done the sewer, right? It's my
Yeah, we're
understanding.
going-
We're
So
going
that,
to,
yeah, so that clears that piece of it up.
Mhm.
But I think it's just this accessory use.
I don't remember them
uses.
gonna get rid of going to be getting rid of the one to focus on the other. I
We
remember
never said
it ended with the creative
No,
property line.
what I saw
and
was a subdivision.
Yeah, that's the
map,
impression
which
we got
kind of
from Jamie
subdivided
when
like
we met
this.
with her, so I don't
You know,
know.
it's
Yeah.
like this in one lot.
So, and
the
nobody
idea was
liked that because that was weird.
Right.
Right.
And that's what I'm gonna say,
And that's what we thought.
And I
too,
think it
like,
makes sense, but like I said, maybe Jamie, maybe it's a legal, they have to look at all of
And
it.
maybe there's a way of work around or something.
Yeah,
sort of
technically.
compromise.
Yeah.
Because this is a much cleaner
Yeah.
design.
It
much
is,
cleaner
it is,
way
yeah.
of using the site.
I thought that it was great. I think that you've come a long way with it all, and when you do come back, I would hope to see a full submittal package with, if signs, if you want, lighting. If you have to have any special things for trash or anything, plantings, obviously, that kind of stuff. I saw you had some grades, on there, it's just kind of a bowl, really, I think.
It is, we didn't do much landscaping because,
That's
to be
fine.
perfectly frank with you, we're like, let's get some
Yeah.
opinions on,
Yeah.
they've got some nice landscaping here, we're gonna carry some of that in here, we'll dress up in here, kind of, that's easy, no problem, so. There'll be obviously lighting at the front entrance and, here
Yeah.
the building. And we may need to put a small pole out in the parking lot or something, it's, more of a decorative pole, but nothing, with some light up.
Just when you come back, I have kind of a question for Doug, or maybe you know too. Can you have the existing driveway to the house be right on top of the property line like that? Is that a wise decision?
I mean, it's allowable,
Okay.
and it's open to review, right, and see what the applicant would say.
So I would
I'd
think
say,
about that
maybe if I
for resale.
if I was doing it for,
Think about it.
well, in an ideal world, you move it a little bit off. The problem with moving a little bit off is that you've got to, that's not an easy move.
No, I
And
would.
it may never be any, even the slightest problem. I mean, there's places to share driveways, so.
Okay.
So,
So then-
if we had to do it from scratch, I'd be like, keep it 3, 4, 5 feet off or something.
The only question I had was about the interior, layout, and you went from having something that had the like suites in the little rooms and the doors to the outside on its own, and then this one is really just one big open room.
Because there's not gonna be any outside, we'll have, like, inside we'll have some suites with the little sections.
But that's not shown on the plans. So you went from having the suites to having just one big open room.
We honestly didn't know if we were gonna put that in or not, because we're just trying to get to a point to see if we can ever get it approved. So I said for now, let's just, right now,
That's our biggest concern, was just having it open,
Open.
later on, and show.
Even if there were suites, they weren't gonna be accessible to go outside. We're calling suites in case.
A dog has to be fed, or if a dog's not feeling well, we have to separate it from the other ones, it's just an area to put them in.
Yeah, no,
so
it
they're,
makes
like,
complete sense, I
separate.
thought it was a nice feature, and I wondered why you took it off, because I
I mean,
thought.
we were just trying to simplify things a little bit to see if we could, so.
I understand that it's been a difficult point to get to here today, and I appreciate that, but it was just, that was my only other comment was, but I know that now, if you feel you have a little bit of confidence, that you're on the right track, it'd be different, we come back and that's,
I think the dual use thing is something we gotta,
you what?
the dual use allowability, that's, yeah.
I think this can work, I mean,
Not that big a deal, right?
No, it's just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to Arnie's point and to your question, some of the news to the project, Jamie is available tomorrow. I think I would recommend giving her a call so you guys can get the clear direction. I'm not sure, this is my first time as chair with you guys in front of us, and I'm not sure what the answer is. I know there's been a ton of answers, options explored, and there's challenges with all of them, so I would talk to Jamie tomorrow, if you can, when you are able to, and get the clarification on the accessory uses, for one being accessory to the other, or, what the legal piece is.
Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow night for a couple, 3 hours, we'll be sitting next to each other in another meeting.
All right,
So let me find it out and I'll drop her an email.
yeah, before you guys
Give her some
spend any
more
more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're trying to do, they should obviously put a lot of time, effort, and finance into it. We're like, let's just get, our phone in front of the board, make sure, everybody likes this thing, to go in the right direction, so we, that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're hearing from the board that we like the way it looks now, it just might be a decision of, if you can't legally have 2 uses, if you choose one or the other, you can probably keep the buildings on the lot and everything, it just has to do with the usage and the business and the permitting.
I'll discuss, we'll work.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, I don't have any other business, so.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Making a motion I'll second it, second by Judy, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.